What's up guys, it's your favorite QB coach. This video is going to be a little bit of an instructional video as well as kind of talking about some of our webinars and why you guys should go watch them. So let's go do this thing. Welcome back to the channel guys. If you guys are new to QB Golf Japan, we do a bunch of videos like this every single week. So what you got to go do is hit that little red subscribe button, smash the like button, please leave a comment and share the video if you guys feel like this video brought you value. Let's hop into the first part. So if you guys have been watching our Instagram, and by the way, if you haven't followed us on Instagram, go ahead and give us a follow at QB Golf Japan. But if you guys have been watching us on Instagram, you probably saw a couple posts on my feed as well as my stories showing kind of a little bit of a demonstration of the hub path or the hand path from the face-on view, and kind of showing some angles, showing how the hands were moving, how the hands were arcing, and you guys were really interested on this. And in the Instagram caption, because I couldn't really give like a really long caption, I couldn't explain it as best as I could. Hey, I figured I was like, might as well do a whole video on this topic. So that's what this video is going to be about. So let's go hop into the analysis. Let's kind of show you how I drew these lines to start off, and then I'm going to show you kind of what these all mean. All right, so we're going to have me as the model, guys. That's right. We're indoors. We're over at Greenwich Golf Club. You guys haven't checked that course out, go check it out. They've been really good to us, and it's just an amazing course. So the first thing is, if you guys have Huddle, which again, Huddle's a free analysis software as well as app, completely free, you got to check it out, but we're utilizing this. I want you to go ahead and find an angle, and what I do is I take this center point and I put it right on the butt end of the club right here. I'm going to put this point right here perpendicular to the ground, and all this is really kind of doing is it's just going to kind of show us an angle of where that button is moving throughout the face-on view on the downswing. So the next thing I do from here is I like to go over to the heel of the club, and I'm going to put a point right there on the bottom part of the heel, like right here. I'm going to make this thing perpendicular to the ground as well. And now as I move this into kind of like right around P5.5, I can kind of track what's going on here, right? So let's go down to about right about here, right, which is roughly about P5.5. So I'm going to go take this one, I'm going to put it on the button of the grip like such, right? So you can see an angle here, right? And don't try to get too delved into kind of the angles, are they good or are they not? Now, obviously, if you start getting some pretty severe ones, which we can talk about a little bit, to where you might be get really, really narrow really quick, then you might want to worry about these angles. But they're not really so much to worry about. They're more so as just references to where you can see what the hands are doing relative to those angles. That's really more so the important part. So again, a lot of you guys, especially my students, when I show them this,
Don't get too caught up in it. Don't get too caught up into it, right? You definitely be wrong. You can definitely crazy angles, but it's usually on the other side. It's more so what the hands are doing to these angles is more so what I saw most people are messing up with.
So what I just did there currently was I lined up this line right here to the heel of the club, this line right here to the butt end of the grip, right? This is kind of just showing us a visual and a demonstration of kind of where the hands are moving. Now, again, this is 2D video. I understand 2D is not 3D and it's not always going to be 100% accurate, but the reason why I'm showing this is you can still get a good representation of kind of what the hands are doing. You can kind of see what's going on, and it's just a great thing that it's free and everyone has an iPhone and everyone can do this. This is why I think it's beneficial for you guys to learn something like this, right? So for all you guys out there that say it's not 100% accurate, I agree with you. It's just, hey guys, no one can buy not many of you guys can buy an $80,000 gears. So this is probably the best you guys can do for now. So let's just stick with it. All right, so now from here, we're going to do the same thing right here. We're going to make this perpendicular to the ground, and then let's go over to the button of the club, right? We're going to switch it to blue so we can kind of see the color difference. We're going to make this one perpendicular to the ground, and then now we can move me down to right around position 6. I'm going to stop there. So again, I'm going to put that to the button of the club. I'm going to put this one kind of right around where the heel is. And then from here, we're going to continue to do this till we get maybe just before position 8. So to speed up time, so you guys don't have to watch me do all this, I'm going to go do this real quick. I'll speed up the video and then I'll get back to you guys. All right, and we're back. So as you can see, we're pretty much just got from right around position 5 through about just obviously before position 8. So position 8's right here when the club shaft is parallel to the ground. So this is obviously quite a bit before that, but we're just trying to get a representation of around position 5 down through the golf ball for this particular example, just so you guys can kind of see what the hand path is doing. So now once I draw these lines, the first thing that I'm trying to do is I'm going to go zoom in really and try to get right about where the start is, which is right here. And I want to focus on the hand path first, and then we're going to focus on what that's doing to the club path. And I start the downswing. What you're going to see is, first off, as I transition, because I'm obviously pushing my pressure forward as well as getting my center of mass forward, you're going to see that the hand path kind of moves inwards really early, right? So there's a little bit of an inward movement, but again, that's just because my arms are attached to the body. If the body moves forward in early transition, which it should, you're going to see that that hand path moves in slightly. But then from here, as I start applying forces on the grip as well as torques on the grip, now you're going to see that the hand is actually starting to get, or the button is starting to get below this line, right? So this is kind of, if you were watching Task, or if you're watching kind of what he was talking about with kinetics, this is kind of what he's talking about, right? So he's not talking about throwing the grip out this way, right? No one's talking about doing that. It's just the combination or the sum of all the forces is going to be directed more so in a kind of this way motion right here in early transition, but it's definitely not getting narrower after that split initial though, right? Remember, because again, if you are pushing your body forward, initially the hands are going to appear like they're getting closer, but then they're going to start widening, right? And that's kind of what I'm trying to reference here. So they're widening, and then right around right about from here, they're pretty much at their widest point, and then now you're going to start seeing it arc or start sharpening its path or narrowing its path, right? So from here, we're starting to narrow, and then once we get into the P5.5, you can see that that button is now matched up to the angles that we drew earlier, right? So if you can kind of understand that motion, it's super common with really good ball strikers that we see something very similar to this, right? So we're going to see that the hand path widens, and then right around, just around halfway, it starts to arc back in, right? Super interesting and very important. Now, what we're seeing a lot of you guys doing is at this position right about here where mine's widening, we're actually seeing a lot of you guys, I'm going to do a circle to reference this, you guys are more so over here. So you guys are actually narrowing in that section, right? So we're seeing some of you guys actually get wider early, like really like kind of wide here early, and then narrow, and then you're going downwards, right? Which I'll try to, I don't have an example of this in this particular video, but maybe in future videos we'll show someone who's doing it maybe incorrectly. But at this position, you guys would be more so towards that circle. And then from here in this circle, you guys would actually start going down below this line. So instead of actually arcing to get to the next position, you're actually widening to get to the next position. That's a huge difference, and something that we think is really causing you to struggle with your low point and just really control with the ball, golf ball. Okay, so now as we're doing that, I also want to kind of reference the club head, right? Because you're going to see that the club head is doing something very similar, and it's kind of playing hand in hand with this. So as the hand path, right? So initially it's getting a little bit closer to the ball just because of that center of mass push, right? Then it's starting to widen right about here. We're going to see that the club is doing the same thing, right? So it gets closer or narrows. Now it's starting to widen outwards. And then you can see that it gets above this line right here, right? So it's above the line. But as it starts getting to the next point, it starts to sharpen and arc in, right? As the hand path is kind of doing something similar. So that's kind of the relationship between the hand path and the club head path, and kind of how those two are really working together to start generating a lot of club head speed, right? So you're, by no means is this passive at all, right? If you feel like you just need to move your body and not have to put any forces or torques on this grip to do this, you're wrong. It's not gonna, that doesn't work that way. Even if you're trying to not do it, you probably still are doing it, right? So if someone tells you that this is a completely passive motion or a completely passive act on the downswing, that is 100% incorrect. Now from here, you're going to see that P5.5 to P6, similar thing, right? Hand path starts to widen, right? So it's getting below that line, part of the hands, right? You can see that right here. And then it's going to arc or sharpen into the next point, right? As the club head is kind of doing a similar thing, right? So the club head now is widening. If you watch it kind of up here, it's widening. And then it's going to arc into the next spot, right? So it sharpens its path into that next spot. And then you're going to see kind of a similar motion here, right? So the hand path is getting underneath, club head is getting underneath, and then it kind of arcs and gets into the golf ball, right? So both of those are getting wider and then arcing. Now, as you can see, the club head from the P5 to kind of P5.5 position doesn't get too far above this line, but it definitely has a widening and arcing effect. And then on the next one, it gets a little bit wider than arcs. And then as it gets into the last one, you're going to see it gets pretty wide and then it kind of arcs, right? So this is very common, and this is kind of that shallowing motion effect. And it's not this type of shallowing, it's more so ulnar deviation type of shallowing, or really getting rid of that radial deviation that's kind of causing that. Or if you want to put in a kinetic sense, I'll let Task explain that, right? Because I'm not quite 100% confident with the terminology, but you're seeing that this thing widens more as it gets down throughout the ball, and then it arcs more, right? Because if it widens more, it's going to arc more, etc., whatever. You guys get that. And then as I get through the ball, kind of same thing here. As I hit the ball, it goes underneath that and then arcs up to the next point, as the hand path has a quite significant upward motion as well, right? So really, what you're doing is you're applying a lot of force towards you, pretty much from right about here through here. There's a bunch of force pulling towards you, right? You're really pulling that handle of the club towards you. And it's such an important visual, I think, for you guys to get if you're really trying to understand kind of the movement of the hand path and the movement of the club head path relative to that. I think this is a very powerful demonstration for you guys to do, as well as I think everyone can do it because it's free, and everyone can do a slow-mo video of themselves. Everyone can have a tripod costs money. Hopefully you guys can afford like a $20 tripod, and then this thing is free as well. So I think anyone can do this. I think it's very useful. Now, is it as most accurate thing that you could possibly have in the world? Absolutely not, right? But again, think about it in a finance sense. Like, not even a lot of golf instructors can afford an $80,000 gears or like some type of kinetics program that can do this. So this is where the average Joe can do. I think you guys can really benefit from this. This is actually kind of taking an excerpt out of one of our recent webinars where we did the face-on view P5 through P10 checkpoints for short irons. We have those available, all the recordings so far. We have 3 at this current time. If you're watching this in the future, we're probably going to have a lot more. But at this current time, we have 3 recordings on our website. They're only 1,000 yen, and most of them probably like 120 minutes, 110 minutes is usually what each one is. There's usually a 60-minute presentation and then like a 40-minute Q&A, but then sometimes they go a little bit longer, right? So we highly recommend checking out those recordings. For the price, I think it's just really invaluable. I think they're going to be strong assets for your game. If you want to check out those recordings, there'll be a link in the description below. But yeah, utilize this. Try this thing out with your own games, right? Make sure you got the tripod, make sure it's stable, slow-mo. Try to draw these same lines and see if you guys look similar to me, right? I think this will be a pretty interesting take. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys again next time.